This is something I used to do as a kid. I started doing as a sophomore in high school, sort of a declaration of who Cory Booker is, how I wanted to orient my life, what were my values in order of importance. Where did financial security rank next to service to other people? Where did physical fitness relate to intellectual pursuits and intellectual growth? Well, we as a city started to say, what are our values? And we really started there. We put a value statement together. Then we built a statement of our mission. And I still carry it around in my wallet. It's a lot more beat up than it is. I've had to replace it a couple times. But we literally started with a mission statement for the city. And the beauty of that and the brilliance of that for me, even in the most difficult days that I have, is if I can come back to use that as my moral compass, then I tend to make the right decisions. Now look, 2.5 years or 2 years, 10 months as mayor, I've made a lot of wrong decisions. And I've even had slips in my own moral compass. I'll be blunt with you. My first realization of this was when I was a councilman. When I was a councilman, and I, by the way, I think I am a good person. I actually think that I'm when it comes to values and morals, I play the game very, very straight. I have to tell you, you'll find few people that think about it and focus on it. And self-flagellation, I'm probably the best self-flagellator in the world. I beat myself up when I have slips like you would not believe. But I've made mistakes before. And I'll never forget early in government how I realized that you could be really Gandhi or King, with the most fearsome values. But in the government space, it's actually pretty easy to slip up and not realize it. Let me give you an example, a righteous example. Here I was, a young councilman, my first year, and I was battling against just petty harassment. So here, everywhere I parked my car, especially when I parked first of all, I said I wasn't going to take a city car. I'm morally standing, I don't need a city car. Why should I take taxpayer money? Breaking my arm, patting myself on the back. And, but I'm still driving around the city, and I remember parking in front of the city hall, like all the other city council people. And the mayor at the time, I think, didn't like me that much. And so he began to ticket my car where I parked. And so I would come out and I would see a traffic ticketing officer, and I would say to them, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Please don't hurt me, Mr. Councilman. I was told to put this on your car. I'm sorry." And she'd put the car and she'd walk away, and I'm not going to yell at her. So I started getting these cars. So I would go down to the municipal court and I would say, "Look, I was in the course of my business parking where other city council people park or what have you." And eventually the tickets were dismissed. Finally I realized I didn't have to go down there. I would send an aide of mine down. So I'd be packing these tickets up. And one day and giving to them. One day I'm driving to go to my continuing legal education course. If anybody knows who's a New Jersey lawyer, what a pain in the neck. So I'm going to this class, no parking around Seton Hall. I park illegally. I run into Seton Hall for this course. I come back out. There's a ticket on my car. I'm frustratingly take it in, put it down there, and there was a stack in my glove compartment of all the tickets that I wrongfully got. Shoved it on that stack. The next day I find myself giving them to the whole stack, including the one I justifiably got, not thinking, giving them to my aide to fix, to get them taken care of. And here I was, a traffic ticket fixer. Here I was. Councilman Cory Booker breaking a law by asking somebody to do it. Thank God we realized it before it happened, but that's how easy it is when you're in the public space, when you're dealing with public dollars, when you're charged with setting a standard. That's how easy it is to make mistakes sometimes. So you have to so vigilantly know what your value system are, what are your ideals, and often, frankly, you need help. So what kind of help you need? I don't know Latin, and I butcher it when I do, and I need to memorize the correct Latin, but in the Colosseum, it's something like quis custado, it's around the Colosseum, it says, "Who will watch the watchers?" And so I'm in charge of watching the public trust. But the reality is, if the public is not watching me, even as great as I'd like to think I am, I'm going to make mistakes. And I tell you this, that was a story from my first year as a council person. I've now served 7.5 years in government, and I've made a lot of mistakes. And there are times that my friends in City Hall, Michelle Thomas, whistleblower that she is, I always say I'm so lucky I have so many Jiminy Crickets around me, constantly saying, wait a minute. We can't do this, or wait. There's a better way to do this, or wait. let's think about this again. But the most important thing is not the Jiminy Crickets I hired, and I hired people of profound integrity. Some of them I want to be like when I grow up. But the better thing that I have going for me is we're trying to kick open doors of City Hall to allow more transparency and more public engagement to happen. I get so thrilled when I meet these community leaders, Ms. Toyloy, who are a pain in my neck, Ms. Toyloy, who show up everywhere, sometimes with recording devices, with cameras. If you stick that camera in my face again, please, wait till I shave, or tell me if I got something hanging out my nose, please. But citizen vigilance like this, and us creating real avenues to get citizens more involved and in partnership with our city, is helping to create a level of accountability I don't think Newark has had in a long time. And so we're trying to create those systems. And we've done a lot of things. From my open office hours, which I tell you are one of the best groundings for me to hear directly from people. All the conversations aren't nice and pretty. There are things we've done like starting the non-emergency response line. There's things we've done like trying to create a more engageable website. There's so many things we're doing to make citizens more accessible or part of our solutions. Even the press conference we had today, Tony. I mean, you are like creating a small revolution in this city. No, I'm serious. We were using public dollars to build an FBI building on our Dagnab waterfront. Anybody knows that was a mistake in planning, but there was no public discussion. There was no involvement in that decision. And now every time I go down 21 by our NJ PAC, which was built in the right architecture and the right process, they literally wrote into NJ PAC that politicians who call about jobs permanently bar those people or those contractors from getting involved in that project. What Tony is doing for all planning is she's saying enough of this City Hall versus the community. We're going to let the community come in and work as leaders in our process. So this public engagement, first start with your values. And one of the values we articulated, shockingly, is that we were going to be a more transparent public engagement group. And I know my team is telling me I'm going too long, but I want to give another example of this. I think we've set the national standard. Obama talks about stimulus money. Before we can even start receiving that stimulus money, Michelle Thomas is launching a website to let anybody know what Newark, New Jersey is doing with the money they get and the projects they get. It is a phenomenal program, and that's why you have the right person on the panel, the wrong person is standing up here talking. I want to end with just a very pointed appeal. I said we are not there yet. We are not as Newark. There are customer service stuff, Michelle, that we still painfully have to deal with. And I don't blame employees. They're often caught in bad systems where they're forced to sit an entire day without training, the right training, where they're forced to deal with a line of people that are often very angry at them, without the kind of support or what have you. We still have so many systems that are poor reflections, not on the mayor, but the poor reflections on who the city of Newark says they are. So my appeal is that we, as two ways, that we continue to take responsibility for government. And taking responsibility for something and loving something and accepting it as your own does not mean you stand idly by and think that democracy is a spectator sport. It is not. I love when you see little kids in soccer. I remember refereeing soccer as a kid and used to see kids when they were pulled out of the game. I felt sorry for those coaches because the little kids sitting there pouting, just sitting there crying, throwing a temper tantrum, and the coaches are getting yelled at by the parents, "Why'd you kick my kid out?" And the thing that I thought was beautiful about that, though, is kids understand it. Everybody wants to be in the game. Democracy demands a vigilance, unlike any other form of government. And where people get lazy and don't engage, don't offer support, don't know the facts, then democracy goes off kilter. How did we make so many bad decisions in the past? I'm not just talking about Newark's government. I talked to a council person from Hoboken today. I talked to the mayor of Washington, D.C. recently. I had email exchanges with somebody high up in the Obama administration today. The reason why we make so many bad decisions is because we do not have a vigilant enough public. We must begin to take responsibility for our government and do what's necessary to change it.